Joining us now is Catherine Glenn Foster. She's the president and CEO of AUL, that is Americans United for Life. They have a new poll out that just has been released in a national survey. Americans moving towards not wanting unrestricted abortions. For instance, a vast majority of Americans, 78.2%, almost 79%, believe that physicians performing abortions should be able to transfer women who experience complications directly to the emergency room. 70% agree that abortion facilities should be held to the same medical standards, and we go on from there. But without stealing her thunder, joining us now is Catherine Lynn Foster, President CEO of Americans United for Life. Catherine Lynn, thanks for being with us.
Pleasure to join you.
Tell me what this means.
Sure. What we did is we looked at the Supreme Court, and back in October, the Supreme Court made this landmark decision to take up an abortion case out of Louisiana, the June Medical Services versus Gee case, and they're going to be hearing argument on this case in February. This is a landmark abortion case that could be the most important case on abortion since Roe v. Wade, since 1973, and it centers on the question of what happens when abortions go terribly wrong, as they sometimes do. When women are injured, when women need to go to the hospital for emergency treatment. And the question is, what happens next? Do we want them to receive the fastest, smoothest care possible to give them the best chance at surviving? And so we decided to find out what Americans think about that, because that is something that Louisiana cares very deeply about. And so they passed this emergency transfer agreement law that says, you know what, if you're performing an abortion, we need to make sure that you do have a way to get a woman quick emergency care so that she's not left lingering in an emergency room for, 5, 6+ hours sometimes. We know how long it can take sometimes in an emergency room. And Louisiana said, you know what, we want to make sure that women get the fastest, smoothest emergency care possible. And so we wanted to know, what do Americans think? Do Americans agree with this? And we found that this supermajority of Americans absolutely do. Most Americans say, we believe that abortionists should be required to be able to transfer women directly to the hospital. And 3/4 of Americans say abortionists should be held to the same medical standards as legitimate physicians, that abortion facilities should be held to the same medical standards as any ordinary hospital, any ordinary facility. And 73.8% support states being able to pass safeguards that ensure abortion facilities are in compliance with these basic medical standards, with health and safety regulations, with sanitation. Just basic standards that say that, that women deserve health and safety standards so that we aren't going to be put in these just incredibly compromising, dangerous situations.
Catherine Lynn Foster, let me ask you this. Has public opinion in America changed on the allowance of late-term abortions from one point to the next? I mean, has hearts and minds changed now? Have you seen any evidence in that? I mean, I'm one of those people that believe that you're never going to overturn Roe v. Wade. I just don't think it's going to happen. And so abortions are now part of U.S. culture. As a Catholic, I've come to grips with that. But what I'm interested in is, when you get into third trimester, what do the polling numbers show?
Yeah, first of all, I might push back a little bit on
Sure.
whether or not we're going to be
course.
able to overturn Roe v. Wade. In fact, just a few weeks ago, I was debating the lawyer who argued the 1992 abortion case, Planned Parenthood v. Casey. We were on stage at the National Constitution Center up in Philadelphia. Her name's Catherine Colbert, Kitty Colbert, and she announced on this stage at this town hall event, live streamed, she said, this is the court that is going to overturn Roe v. Wade. Now, I'm not sure we're quite there yet. We're expecting maybe some rollbacks in this case. May not be all the way there, but we have the other side on high alert, sort of running scared, and that's why they're trying to pass laws like the New York Reproductive Health Act that stripped away all protections for women, all protections for children in the womb, and even children outside the womb who've just been born, those precious newborns, all stripped away. When we look at what was stripped away there, when we look at just what New York did and those late-term abortions that New York decided to allow, the absolute latest-term abortions imaginable, we conducted another poll just a couple weeks after that New York decision. And what we found is that 80% of Americans oppose third trimester abortions. 4/5 of Americans say, hey, that's too far. Even if I'm pro-choice, that's too far, because not only did we find that, we also found that 2/3 of even self-described pro-choice Americans oppose third trimester abortions, these late-term abortions of children who are viable outside the womb, children who could survive on their own if they just got a chance to be born, and at a time when the abortion is so much more dangerous for the woman, when she is just at this increased risk that abortion is going to have serious medical complications, that abortion could even kill her.
Catherine Lynn, that's where I think the debate is going. As customary with whatever they do, the left overreaches, and you can say that it's in reaction to maybe some of the conservatives on the Supreme Court, but frankly, I have to be candid with you. I think that the acceptance of late third-term trimester abortions, whether the baby is in the birth canal, just getting to the birth canal, I mean, it's a bridge too far, Catherine Lynn. And a lot of, look, I'm not going to say that I'm pro-choice, I'm pro-life, but I'm not for overturning Roe v. Wade. I'm just not. I just think it's part of culture. But when you get into this third trimester thing, and I don't care how they spin it, you got to ask yourself, where the hell are we going with this? I mean, it's sick, and it's a bridge too far for a lot of people. I think it's waking them up. We had that whole thing going on in Virginia with Delegate Kathy Tran, and a lot of people just said, why are you doing this? I mean, if you want to terminate the pregnancy, you got 6 months to figure it out. Like, why do we need this? It's a tough one. I think that's where the debate ultimately is headed, and I think that's a debate that you have to change the hearts and minds of people. I think a lot of people think that is just a barbaric form of living, and maybe it's going to awaken others, and we'll see how it plays out. But look, I want to thank you for your hard work and time, Catherine Lynn. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Absolutely a pleasure.
All right. Keep up the hard work. John Fredericks Radio Network, Truck the Truth across America.